Most Americans know the Navy SEALs. They number 2,500 operators, their stories are public, their training legendary. Delta Force is different. It has just 250 members, all drawn from battle-hardened veterans, vanishing into operations so sensitive that even confirming their existence can spark international crises. Their secrecy is not a myth, it is an operational necessity enforced by law. Why would the U.S. need warriors whose failures or even identities can never be acknowledged? The answer begins with how Delta Force selects who is even allowed in the door. Subscribe to see more that reveals what really happens in the shadows of special operations. Delta Force exists almost entirely out of public view by design. Public view is precisely the point. While the Navy SEALs have roughly 2,500 active operators and a prominent place in American military culture, Delta Force maintains just 250 to 300 operators, a force size so small it is rarely even acknowledged in official documents. This deliberate 10-to-1 ratio is not a matter of budget or recruitment, it is a policy rooted in the unit's mission. Delta is tasked with operations where even a whisper of United States involvement could spark international fallout. Every member is selected from experienced soldiers who have already proven themselves in elite Army units, not from the civilian population. The unit's existence, size, and structure are protected by layers of classification, and every fact presented here is drawn from open, unclassified sources. The contrast with the SEALs is stark. One is a symbol, recognized and celebrated. The other is a shadow, its presence felt only in the rarest moments. Subscribe to see more content that reveals what really happens in the shadows of special operations. Every Delta Force candidate arrives with a proven record. Before even attempting selection, most have already completed 8 to 12 years in the Army, often as Rangers, Green Berets, or in other demanding roles. These are not raw recruits. They are seasoned, non-commissioned officers and combat veterans, many with multiple deployments behind them. This veteran-only pipeline forms the first barrier to entry. The average age hovers in the early to mid-30s, well beyond the typical special operations trainee. It is a deliberate design. Delta's mission profiles demand judgment and calm that only come from living through chaos, not just training for it. The unit's small size is a direct result of this standard. Out of thousands who serve in elite Army units, only a handful are invited to try. By the time a candidate faces selection, they have already endured the kind of stress and responsibility that most special operators are still learning to manage. Delta Force selection is a study in uncertainty. Candidates cross the North Carolina mountains alone, navigating endless distances with a heavy rucksack and only a map and compass for company. There is no schedule, no encouragement, no hint of how far remains or how fast to move. Sleep is a luxury. Most get just 2 or 3 hours each night, if that. Instructors offer nothing but silence, watching from a distance. The only instruction is simple: reach the next point, then the next, without knowing how many remain. The final test, known as the Long Walk, stretches over 18 hours and covers an undisclosed distance. By this stage, bodies are breaking down and minds are running on fumes. Some collapse from exhaustion. Most never finish. Out of every 100 who begin, only 5 to 10 will complete the course. Even those who do are not told if they have passed until the very end. In this environment, uncertainty is the true measure. Only those who can make sound decisions while utterly alone advance to the next phase. Graduation from Delta's selection is just the beginning. For those who make it, the next 6 months are spent inside the Operator Training Course, a program designed to erase the line between soldier and covert operative. The curriculum is relentless and precise. Marksmanship is stripped to fundamentals, then rebuilt under extreme stress. Operators learn to fire accurately from awkward positions while moving and in close quarters where a single mistake can be fatal. In the shoot house, live ammunition is used in rooms filled with role players acting as hostages, threats, and bystanders. The expectation is clear. Identify who lives and who dies in fractions of a second. There is no margin for error and no time to hesitate. Beyond gunfighting, the training dives into tradecraft rarely taught in conventional military programs. Surveillance and counter-surveillance, lockpicking, covert entry, and electronic eavesdropping are all part of the course. Operators practice following targets through crowded cities, setting up dead drops, and blending into environments where any sign of military bearing could blow their cover. Language and cultural immersion are built in, with operators expected to learn enough local dialect and custom to pass as civilians in foreign cities. Advanced driving and protective security prepare them to move high-value people through hostile territory without drawing attention. Every lesson is designed to produce someone who can operate alone or in a team of two, often without backup, in places where being caught means more than mission failure. It could trigger a diplomatic crisis. The operator training course transforms proven soldiers into assets who move seamlessly between worlds, equipped to gather intelligence, execute high-risk raids, and disappear without a trace. Delta Force operates in a world where missions are rarely spoken of, even within the halls of government. When a crisis unfolds in a place where American troops are not supposed to be, or when the fallout from exposure could reshape alliances, Delta is the tool of choice. Their operations span hostage rescues, high-value target raids, and manhunts that cross borders and legal boundaries. Most of these actions remain classified, their details buried for decades, if they are ever revealed at all. One operation stands apart as an exception. The 2019 raid in Syria ended with the death of ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. This mission, named in honor of Kayla Mueller, an American hostage murdered by ISIS, was planned and executed by Delta operators under Joint Special Operations Command. The assault force launched from Iraq, flew deep into hostile territory, and stormed Baghdadi's compound. Operators cleared buildings and tunnels as the world's most wanted terrorist detonated a suicide vest, taking his own life and those of his children. The president publicly named the unit a rare moment of acknowledgement for a group that usually remains in the shadows. Yet even this high-profile raid is only a glimpse of Delta's true workload. The vast majority of their missions, hostage rescues in neutral countries, clandestine strikes in places where the U.S. denies presence, and months-long surveillance operations never reach the public record. Their skill set and secrecy converge by necessity. Failure could mean not just loss of life, but diplomatic crisis or war. This is the operational reality that shapes every aspect of Delta's existence. Subscribe and be part of the audience that wants to understand what really protects national security. Delta Force's secrecy is enforced long before a mission ever begins. Every operator signs a classified information non-disclosure agreement that binds them for life, not just during service. Violating that agreement can mean up to 10 years in federal prison for each offense, with additional penalties if covert identities or intelligence sources are exposed. These legal obligations are not symbolic. They are backed by the Espionage Act, the Intelligence Identities Protection Act, and federal statutes that apply to both military and intelligence personnel. Delta Force's chain of command runs through Joint Special Operations Command, directly to the National Security Council, and at times to the President. This structure places Delta at the intersection of military and intelligence operations, often working alongside the CIA Special Activities Center. The result is a unit where secrecy is not merely tradition. Secrecy is a legal and operational necessity, reinforced by the threat of criminal prosecution and the reality that even acknowledging membership can put lives and national interests at risk. Life inside Delta Force means living with a burden few can share. Operators keep their achievements and losses hidden, even from those closest to them. Families endure long absences and unanswered questions, never knowing when or if news will come. There are no public ceremonies, no official stories, only a quiet understanding that some sacrifices must remain invisible. For policymakers, every mission is weighed against the risk of global fallout. A single mistake can spark a diplomatic crisis or even war, yet success often means nothing more than a line in a classified file. The measure of danger is not just in bullets or explosions, but in the knowledge that exposure could reshape alliances or threaten national security itself. Subscribe to see more content that reveals what really happens in the shadows of special operations. Delta's secrecy is not a myth, it is a necessity. In a world where a single exposed operation can spark an international crisis, some missions demand absolute invisibility. As global tensions shift, the existence of units like Delta proves that the most decisive actions are often those no one ever sees. Subscribe for more untold realities.